All righty. I am with Jeff Dwoskin, the founder of Stampede Social. And Jeff, I appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, great to be here. Good to hang out with you, Jim.
You too. You too. So give me the elevator pitch straight off the bat. Give me 30 seconds. What is Stampede Social?
Stampede Social is the quickest way to get your fans to your content on Instagram without the annoyance of link in bio. It does a ton of other cool stuff too, but our main focus is reducing fan friction to make it easier for creators to do what they want to do, which is create and get what they've created into the hands of their fans.
And Lincoln Bio alone is I think, $1 billion industry. So you've got a lot you can upend here. I think you started this a couple of years ago. You had a bunch of big brands using this to communicate with people. You've recently pitched to creators, influencers. Why? What brought you down that path?
We originally built the technology on Twitter, and then when we adapted it to Instagram, we focused just because, mostly because that was just sort of my background was talking to large agencies. So nothing pushes something to its limits and letting a big brand use it. So we conceived of Stampede Social as an always on solution. It's always working. It's always collecting comments. It's always monitoring everything and collecting data for you. And big brands and agencies want to only use things that focus on the moment they need it. That, which was fine. But as we sort of took a step back, we realized what we've created here has so many amazing pieces that we could put together and make it so easy for a creator. When I say creator, it could be a coach, a podcaster, someone who has a blog, anything like that, to put this power into their hands. It just took us a while to figure out how to flip it, and meaning like the messaging and put the technology together so we could make it cost effective, you know, tens or 100 versus thousands. So,
Right.
which for a big brand. So that's sort of what we did. So we know what we came up with is something really, really, really powerful for creators that is enterprise level, but at a creator kind of entry point.
Yeah, absolutely. So could you share your screen and sort of show us the back end, the magic behind the Stampede Social? And while you do that, I know you and I talked about using it for some brands, and I always had in my head, oh, this is great for a campaign. This is great for a campaign. But your point, it should always be on. It should be something that you almost like link in bio. When you put up the next blog post, it's magically there.
Exactly. It's always kind of working. If you go live on the fly, it's meant to always kind of be there and nimble enough so that you don't always do stuff that's premeditated, right? You like something
Right.
like threads may have happened, right? Or threads happened, right? And so you probably threw out a post that you didn't spend 2 weeks planning because you got to get it up now or it's not relevant. And in 30 minutes, it's not relevant.
Yes.
So it will just immediately start capturing that information and the dialogue that would go with that, on your Instagram. So, so that's why it's helpful to just have something that's always kind of got your back, and then nimble enough that you can kind of always just kind of use it as you need to. So
Yep.
it's built on Metatech, so it authenticates you through Facebook. So what's interesting about that is if you were working with a brand, and again, I don't mean to say this isn't for brand. It works just fine for brands, but if you were working with a brand, they could give you access to their Stampede Social without giving you access to their Instagram credentials. Which is cool because one, people leave and all that kind of stuff, and it's so then, you know, when I used to work at a big brand, one person left, you had to change every password for every account, right? Because everyone just not natively logged in to everything. So this allows you the benefit of not having to do that. So
Yeah, that's a big deal. And so basically, if I understand it correctly, you can instantly send DMs to people who use certain words or hashtags. Can show me that, please.
right.
Do I
So
have it right?
yes, yeah. So we created what we call lassos, which are automated DM campaigns. And as you can see, we have multiple ones running at the same time. So what happens is you create a call to action on your post or your reel or your Instagram live event or your story. or direct to DM and just say, hey, hashtag, send me hashtag audio call out and I'll send you that information, right? Whatever the call, and then this URL will be sent to them. It's an encrypted version of this URL that has a bunch of data behind it that we can get into as well, which is cool. But to add a campaign, you literally just click modify, add the hashtag, add the destination URL, hit add, boom, done. So if you were going on stage and you're like, oh, I wanted to do one of these, you just do it, hit add, and then if page reloads, you're ready to go. You can go on stage, and when I say this QR code right here, what this QR code it does is it opens up your DM. So if you were on stage and you had your top 10 Instagram tips, you could just tell them at the end of your speech, hey, point your QR reader at this. It'll open up your DM. Just DM me hashtag top 10 or whatever, right? And they send it, and they'll then get a DM from Jim Tobin or Ignite, whatever you have it set up to, pretty momentarily. But here's the cool part about that, Jim, is if you're on stage and you're asking the people in the audience, and there's 50 people in the audience, and 20 of them do that, you know exactly which 20 did it. Versus a
Right.
QR code that just goes to an open web page, just a normal URL. And then you never know who really did it, who didn't do it. They say they did it. They'll
Yeah.
look in the eye and say they did it, Jim. But
And you have a way. They have a way. You have a way to message them. You've already messaged them in your DMs because I give some talks, and you go around, and maybe 4 or 5 people come up afterwards and ask you some questions. Hopefully, you remember their names. This is much better than that.
yeah, you literally have a lead list walking out, and you could have it set up, after if you're at a table, handing out your book or whatever you're doing, right? You can use these QR codes to kind of create that engagement, which is pretty cool.
So if somebody comments on my Instagram and I'm set up exactly like you have it here, and they use the hashtag audio call out, they get a link to what that links to. And if they use demo, they get a different link.
Yep. So each post can be kind of focused on a call to action. You could be on a podcast, or you could be doing, just let's say you're on a podcast and you're talking about it. You could say, hey, go to, and you can give your Instagram and just DM me hashtag ignite, and I'll send you a link so you can set up a call with me. So you can do it auditorily as well to kind of drive people, which is easier than remembering like a long URL to get
Yeah.
people where they want to go. The QR
Yeah.
code's cool. If you're leaving a pizza place, you can put the QR code on the box. You could put it by the stand, get them to sign up for their mailing list, all that kind of cool stuff. A lot of
Yeah.
interesting applications.
Yeah. So I know you've added AI to the platform recently. I think all the cool kids are adding AI. But can you show us how that works for Stampede Social?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just see. You never know. So so as what you saw in the screen before was a bunch of Instagram posts. So when you connect to Stampede Social, it's monitoring those posts constantly. So
Okay.
that's how it's doing its magic behind the scenes. So one of the things, if you're a creator and then maybe you don't have an inbox management tool, this will bring in the comments, and you can actually reply to the comments from our tool. And once you hit reply, it moves it out of active comments, and then as the new ones come in, you can address them. So it helps you as a creator keep up with everybody that's engaging with you. So one of the things that we did is created this AI help button, and you can see that it says guilty, no worries, we all have our moments, just blah blah blah. So it'll actually create your you can set up your tone and your and a theme for the AI, and it will automate that. And it'll create that. And if you don't like that one, you just hit it again, and it'll create a different one. And then you can edit it all you want. What's cool about this is that it's not necessarily just replying to guilty; it's actually replying in context to the caption. So as a creator,
Yeah.
if you start to write your captions more effectively or very detailed, when somebody creates a comment that maybe is vague, you'll notice that the AI response will pull in elements of your caption to give their response context to the caption. So it kind of is pretty cool in that sense. that it's a little smarter than just a kind of a generic response. And then
Yeah,
we
and
have
if you
some.
get 100 of these, you can do 100 custom responses and very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And you can always just hit it if you don't like it. I always say it's like
Yep.
the Sears when you take the photos. If you pass on it, it's gone. But do you want this photo? No. Okay, we'll go on to the next one.
Yep.
That may be too old a reference, but yeah. So there's a little element right here where um, it's a winner selection tool. So if you are doing a giveaway at a post level, you could type in, you ask them to type in hashtag ignite and maybe tag a friend, enter one time. You can just enter all that in and hit shuffle, and it'll dedupe it and randomize it 5 times and give you a top down winners list that you
Wow.
can use to give away winners, which is nice um, from a compliance point of view. Then you have a
Yeah.
full kind of audit of that, which is cool. The other neat thing for creators is we pull in. You can see where this is a newer not popular post, but but it pulls in the stats from Instagram right here for you. We apply a sentiment, but other than that, it's pulling everything. So which I thought was neat because then as a creator or whoever, you have to go to a certain place in the app to get that information. So this is just a convenience thing, but in reporting, we also give you a full post stats report, which is really helpful, especially if you don't have another tool that you're using. So then you can do a full analysis of, all right, these carousels did better than these images, than these videos, than this live event, and you can kind of go at it there.
Yeah, and I mean, creators are always trying to deepen that connection. And one of the best ways is to actually communicate back and forth one on one. But beforehand, it could take you hours if you had to send everybody a link, write them all the post, and you've made it so much quicker.
Right. So one of the cool things about the fact that we collect all the comments and that they're just available as AI, one of the next things coming is going to be some AI analysis of those comments to look for themes and certain things that you can just get from that data. But we also create a top engagers report, which looks at that and goes, oh, okay, at Jim Tobin, he's commented 50 times. So you can start to understand who's engaging the most with your comments. So kind of just gives you an idea who your top fans are there,
Yeah.
which is nice. So and then
So
everything.
I'm sorry, I was on your website earlier, and which is Stampede Social, and it said UGC. It ties into UGC content. Explain how that works for me. How does it tie into UGC?
Sure. Um, so you can have an active user generated content campaign going. And then what we do is we monitor specific campaigns that you have going. So it's not a generic listening tool. This
Yep.
is very specifically if you ask somebody to do hashtag social media and tag Ignite, right? And so the combination of those two things will collect just like they collect as on your homepage. You'll have a section where you'll have UGC campaigns going, and it'll just pull them up just as it's a little different interface. I didn't have one preset
That's okay.
to
It's
show you,
okay.
but it'll pull in their post, and then you can reply to their post. You can't do the automations against their timeline, which is I bring it up because
Right.
it's always the first question someone asks, and so and so but the nice thing is, at any given time, 50 people have engaged with your user generated content campaign, and the 30 of them were 30 unique people, meaning people did doubles. You click a button, you can download that as a database, and so you can engage with them. So it was meant to. Everyone does user generated content stuff. It's a lot of what Stampede Social helps solve for are the things that agencies, brands, individuals put in motion, but then are really
Yep.
difficult to manage and measure, right?
Yes.
So we created Stampede Social to kind of fill in the gaps to make all those things extremely easy to do, and more importantly, do more often. right? Because if
Yep.
something's difficult, then you're probably avoiding it. Oh no, the client wants us to do a contest again. You know what I mean? And so this is something that, can make it real easy. Just in context for this is something we did at a conference that we were at, but we did a giveaway. So you can see they say, hey, comment below, hashtag Lima Sweeps. And anyone who commented that would then get the registration form. They would click to the registration form, enter, and that's how we did it. But that's one use of the automated technology to try and drive people. Ultimately, you're trying to get emails, you're trying to get a mailing list going, and this is really great for that.
Yeah, creators are doing more and more newsletters, worried about living off the back of, if you built a really good following on Twitter, that's worth a heck of a lot less than it was a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
for example. And that can happen to lots of things over time. But so this works on Instagram, Instagram Live, and Reels, I believe, right?
Yeah, and stories. So you can tell someone
And
just, hey,
stories.
yeah. So stories. The one thing people say, hey Jeff, but I can just put the link in stories, right? Which is true, but you kind of have to also think that um, people don't always have time to go read your 5 minute blog. They don't always have time to listen to my 45-minute podcast, right?
Right.
At the moment they discover it, right?
Right.
And let's face it, the stories disappear in 24 hours. So it's going to be gone. And if you click on it, I mean, I don't know about you, I'm just not good at managing the thousand open documents in my Safari on my iPhone, right? So
Yeah.
it all gets lost if you just click on something and it opens up there, right? So the benefit to stories or really anything is if you get them to comment below to get that into their DMs, then it's in their DMs. So they don't have to worry about the 24-hour window for stories. They don't have to worry about finding it later, going to their saved posts. There's so many benefits. And we see that the click-through rate is sometimes higher than 100% for these because one, they have requested it and everyone knows where their DM is. So it's real easy to get to. So that's sort of like the secondary cool benefit of getting people to
Yeah.
get into get it into their DMs.
Yeah, way better than link in bio. And we've seen for years that the percentage of people who will click a link in bio is infinitesimal. It's so low. And I think you would point out that you have to leave the post to do it, which is a little less than ideal. So,
Right. And I think
any major features I've left? I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, the link in bio is a great way to fix something that was a perceived issue. I just think it was fixed wrong, right? And so to get them to leave or go to a web page or link in bio web page that looks like your Instagram, it should be easy to get people to your content, and that's sort of where we framed our technology to get them. So,
Yeah.
have you missed anything? One cool thing that kind of goes under the radar, which is probably one of the cooler things, is when you go live on Instagram, it collects all the comments that are coming in during an Instagram live, and you can do these hashtag exchanges. So you can be live and let's say I got my new book, and I'm like, hashtag book, and everyone's in there, and I go, just comment hashtag book, and I'll send you a link. You can get it on Amazon or wherever, right? And so you can be engaging, and then they can do that. You can say, hey, just say hi, just say hi. Now they say hi, and now you've captured that they were there, so you can kind of see the history that they have with you.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a really cool one. And like it was funny when I was talking to some agencies, and they were explaining that their clients have them record an Instagram live, and then they write them all down. And I was just like, oh, we're gonna become best friends right now. And, and so yeah, so that's super cool. The other question that comes up, even though it's only existed for 72 hours, is threads, but they,
Yes.
they just have, they just haven't released any APIs that I'm aware of just yet to integrate there. And part of the problem with threads is that the threads we know today and the threads in 30 days, I'm sure will be very different. So
Absolutely, and we got a client question within 24 hours of can we see the threads in our tool? And it's like no, you cannot. They haven't even built a chronological feed yet. They probably want to do that before they do the API access to all these big social media management tools. So but Jeff, I've known Jeff for years. He's it's interesting because he's worked at big brands doing social media. He's also a podcaster and a comedian, so he's done it as sort of a creator on himself, and you can see that in these tools. They're really built for actual use cases and actual problems people have. So I want to compliment you on what you built here, Jeff.
thank you, Jim. That was so sweet. I'm going to take that quote
Yeah, people
and then
don't.
print it out and frame it.
Absolutely. Put it on your website. Yep. And so if you want to try this out, give it a look at stampede.social and give it a try. And if you have any questions, Jeff is super easy to find on social media. He's very active all over the place. So you won't have a founder who's hiding from you like happens with some of these tools.
Find me on Threads. No. Yes, I'm everywhere. So,
Well, Jeff, thanks so much for your time.
Jim, thank you so much for hanging out with me and letting me show off Stampede Social. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.